And welcome in, everybody, to Shelter 1 here at Idlewild Park. The LWS Open at Idlewild, presented by Dynamic Discs, is underway. Round 1 tomorrow. Joined here for the press conference, Isaac Robinson, defending champion. You got your first win here last year. And it feels like you've been winning for forever, but really it's been almost 365 days. Can you reflect on the past year since you got the win here?
Yeah, it's been a crazy year. I wouldn't say I expected to come out and win, in my rookie year on the DGPT. So getting the win here, and then of course getting the win at Champions Cup, it's just been like a dream come true, and just something I never really thought would happen. So,
from the moment you won the tournament here, how has your career as an athlete changed, and maybe how has your belief in yourself as a professional athlete changed?
Yeah, I would say it changed. Just with the amount of recognition from sponsors, and just the amount of people that immediately you gain a little bit of a following, and so kind of taking it to the career to the next level is kind of what happened here. And what was the second half of that question?
Just your belief in yourself.
Yeah.
How has that changed?
Yeah, I hold myself to like a higher standard now because I've seen what I can do and what I'm capable of, and it's not. Sometimes that isn't realistic every week, but striving to be in the top 10 and be in contention every week has definitely been something that I've seen myself trying to do more.
It seems like when we talk to players throughout the season, belief in oneself and confidence and expectations is kind of a fickle thing. When you started getting more recognition, was it hard to kind of live up to expectations you were setting for yourself initially? Yes,
absolutely. I think actually last year after this event, I think I went and got last cash at Deglo. So that was kind of a reality check. You're not going to be winning. You're not going to be in contention every week. And then also to the start of this year, I had high hopes coming in and missed the cut at Vegas. So it's ups and downs, but that's how tour life is. And just trying to maintain consistency is just something that I try to do.
What is your day-to-day now that you have a solidified career in disc golf? You're getting the recognition from the sponsors. What is your day-to-day tour life like? Is it very solo and isolated, or are you always caravanning with that goofy group of dudes?
Yeah, week in and week out, I'm always hanging out with them. We're always doing stuff. We went to a coffee shop this morning and played games. So, it's just been great friends and a great time on the road. So happy to be out here.
Now let's zoom in to this year. You've taken on a major championship. You've risen up the ranks, world rankings, tour rankings. Now you come back to this course a year later. How different of a player from maybe a gameplay shot selection standpoint are you?
Yeah, I think coming to this week I have the same shot selection. I have a lot of the same discs in my bag, so I'm going to be, remembering the shots from last year and throwing a lot of the same ones. But I feel like I've gotten a little smarter. You realize that, scrambling or pitching out from the rough is a lot of times the best decision, especially in the woods. Don't try to go for anything big. And so, choosing when and where to take my strokes is a big thing I've seen because each stroke is so valuable out here on the road.
Talk about those discs that are still in your bag. I mean, they can't stay in the perfect sweet spot forever, and that's something that I feel like we don't talk a lot about enough in disc golf is we can't keep the same bag week after week. We can't just solidify the stage of wear. How are those discs flying now compared to how they were last year when you won?
Yeah, oh man. I think I have the same PA3 and the same M1, and the PA3's gotten a little flippier, so I put a new one in the bag, but my yellow M1 that I relied heavily on out here, it's still in that sweet spot. It's still pretty much perfect, so I'm throwing it on probably 60% of the holes out here off the drive.
Do you have any backups in case something ever were to happen to it, or is it like something that cannot be replaced?
Oh, man, I don't think it can be replaced. If I ever lose that, I'm toast.
Well, to all people who live nearby this course, if anything were to happen, please get out here and find this disc.
Please.
Isaac, thank you for the clarity. Here's Zoe and Ike for a few more.
Hello, Isaac, and welcome back to Idlewild.
Thank you.
How does it feel to be coming back here and defending your first DGPT title?
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure, I guess. I'm trying not to think about it. I'm just trying to go out there and play my game. But there's a lot of excitement too. I've had a couple really good practice rounds, and so the confidence is up there, and I want to be the first person to go 2 times out here and back to back as well.
Well, this is one of the most demanding yet rewarding courses on tour. A lot of people talk about how this course demands that you play the game of golf. And watching you in the woods, it seems like not only are you lacing lines out here, but you're more aggressive. Can you speak to what it is about this course or just what it is about the confidence here at Idlewild?
Yeah, I love hitting gaps, and just throwing hard, like throwing mids and putters just as hard as I can through the gap, is something that I feel very comfortable doing, and this course allows for a lot of that. So you're just, yeah, it's something I think that's my skill set, and I think this course, you're hitting gaps off the tee, 90% of the time out here, and yeah, so excited, yeah.
Well, to go along with that, out of like the top 2 or 3 courses or events on this year's schedule, was Idlewild one that you couldn't wait to get back to?
Oh, absolutely. It's kind of, this is kind of the point in the year where the wear and tear starts to hit you. It's getting near the end of the season. But this has always been one that I'm so excited to be back here because this, holds so many memories. And so, yeah, I am very pumped to be here.
All right, I just have one more question for you. This one's kind of fun. We saw you posted about being 0.2 of a point ahead of Gannon.
Yes.
Number 1, how important is it to you to stay in front of Gannon? And number 2, about coming into the Tour Championships with that padding and with that advantage? Yeah,
I think first and foremost being ahead of Gannon is, it's huge. I never thought it would happen. And, being so far ahead is just nice because there's not much hope for him to catch up, I think. We got Worlds coming up, and he hasn't had 2 majors on his points list yet, but it's not going to matter. But then also the strategic point of being in that, I think it's the top 4, top 2. I don't know how the standings work in the DGPT finale, but those spots are very important. The points matter a lot this year with how it's set up and the stroke advantages that you have. So just trying to maintain those top 4 spots right there.
Awesome. Well, good luck to you. And just one more question here. We hope you have an excellent weekend.
Thank you.
Hi, Isaac. Gavin Babcock here. Real quick, bet you're pretty happy with the switch up on hole 12's green. No more slippage incidents, hopefully?
Yes, I'm glad they made that change specifically for me because I almost got really hurt. And so I'm glad they were looking out for my safety on that green. So I approved the change.
Awesome. And considering you got super lucky with your win here last year, what have you been doing to rebuild up your luck for this year's Idlewild tournament?
Oh, man. Lots of good things. You got to recharge that luck every now and then. So, yeah, I got nothing.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, and may the luck be on your side. You will need it.
Thank you, Gavin.
And with that, we'll be right back in just a few.
Welcome back to the Disc Golf Network and your FPO defending champion, Katrina Allen. Kat, welcome back.
Thank you.
And Idlewild, you have had some substantial success. You've gotten first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and eighth. And what is it about this course that I feel like brings out the execution and some of the best in your game?
Oh gosh, I would say that's a bad tournament. Like I just came from Ledgestone where I've won it 5 times. So I've actually always despised this place because, not despise, that's the wrong word, but OB and woods is a tough thing to deal with. Like you're being double punished, right? You already missed the gap, hit a tree, and now you're also OB. So that was the first year I got here. I was like, what is going on? Especially because at the time, I know the course has changed a little bit, but like, I think it was the first 4 or 5 holes. I was like, okay, this is fun, right? Like, kind of like park golf, whatever. And then you get into those woods and you find those creeks and the OBs. And so I think what happened last year was just realizing that bad breaks, bad holes, bad kicks are going to happen. They're going to happen to everyone. And it kind of, you got to get in like a Masters Cup, like a day law mindset. Like how quickly can you forget? And, scramble and take your medicine where you can, I guess.
Well, and you kind of started mentioning it about last week, but I would like to zoom out over the last month to 6 weeks. You had a huge win at the Preserve Europe, and then last week. How does Katrina take what's been going on recently, and what is it that you're focused on to find yourself defending your title?
Yeah, my over the last, I would say, I don't know, starting somewhere in like 2018, 19, I started to form like horrible habits in my backhand. And I am having, I would say, the toughest time I've ever had, like fixing it. Normally, like it's like, oh, okay, you can go out and kind of do some field work, find some timing. And like, yeah, the only thing that's keeping me from like getting on the next flight back home, honest to goodness, because I fell in love with throwing the disc. I think most of us can, but like even in times where my putt wasn't what I guess everyone on social media wanted it to be, I loved throwing the disc, and I knew if I had 10 opportunities and I missed half of them, that's 5 under. Where now I'm like scrambling and making 25 footers just to get par sometimes, and that's just, anyways. So, I guess what I'm saying is most weeks I can deal with it pretty good mentally. And then there's some weeks where it's just like not enjoyable to be on the course and not throwing the disc. Like to have the knowledge of how to hit the angle and the height and know the flight that it's asking for or the wind's asking for, and not being able to replicate that, say 7, 8 times out of 10 is like infuriating. And like I said, that's the part of the game I just fell in love with. It's like shape shopping, rollers, all that stuff. But my putting is phenomenal, and my sidearm is becoming dangerous almost. I'll probably throw 14 sidearms off the tee this week, maybe anytime I can. So
yeah, incredible. It's almost like you're reading my questions because your sidearm has been something we've seen you lean into, and I was going to ask if there were more. So
yeah, so I guess what I was getting at with going all over the place and probably sharing too much, it's been really hard to not have my favorite part of the game, but I'm just knowing how persistent I am and that I'm not going to just give up and fly home, even though I want to. That, when I get through this little hitch with the side or with my backhand, that I think that's going to be a powerful thing to have, the backhand I once have and then have this amazing sidearm and putt. So.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time during the live, the players that have advantage on both sides. So yeah, I think that serves you well. And I'm going to actually stray from my questions just on your answer. You've played disc golf for so many years. You've certainly gone through some plateaus before. Yeah. What were some of those things that got you through before? And what do you... I'm glad you're not getting on that flight because you're here to defend. But what is it that you're kind of grabbing onto to get through this plateau?
I just think back to I don't know, whether it was like going through the yips or going through some difficulties with players on the course. there was a season where there was just some unnecessary drama that I felt like I was handling. And I just, I always think back to this quote, and it's like, kind of like when you're doing good or overcoming something, you normally come out better, right? You come out stronger, and just to be grateful for those bad times. And so I guess I'm just in that time where, like I said, I know it'll be worth it if I, persevere through it. And then what's really helping me is like, if I can persevere through it, then I'll have this sidearm that's incredible and a backhand, and who knows what could happen if I just keep, climbing the mountain.
Yeah, I mean, that gets me excited to think about
Yeah.
a more skill sets in the bag.
Yeah.
So just a final question, getting back to mine, is the Tour Championships are approaching. Missy just passed you in Tour points at second. You're still well up there, but how important are those Tour points and your seed going in with the advantage?
I would say normally I'd be thinking about those things, and I know it's very important, and that's kind of the goal for the season. But I think like ratings and like Disc Golf Pro Tour and all that stuff, world rankings, I don't know. I'm not even in a throwing place, like I said, that I feel like I can even be focusing on it. That would just be extra pressure to throw the disc well, right? So just trying to stay right here.
Stay in the moment.
Yeah, and like I said, just do my best to,
All right.
get on
Well,
that flight. Thank you.
one last thing, actually. I know I thought that was my last question, but we are on 3 in a row right now.
Yeah.
Are you going to be able to, or do you have a plan to balance time off versus working through this plateau with one more event next week?
I guess we've been taking Monday off. After my rounds, I go play some ball golf. I feel like that's really good for the other side of the body. It's I'm actually driving the golf ball better than disc golf. I'm like thinking about the LPGA. No.
There we go.
But like, so it, just kind of finding something to mentally and physically put the disc down and enjoy myself.
I think that sounds pretty solid,
Yeah.
and it's motivating to hear you're driving the ball that well.
Yeah.
So good luck this
Thank you.
weekend. We want to see you on that podium again.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after this break.
Thank you.
Welcome back. We are joined here by last week's champion at the Ledgestone, Kerl Redalen. Kerl, how many interviews for you has it been in the past week? Has it been chaotic for you?
I think this is number 6. So it's been chaotic, but I don't mind. The platforms are great and the people are great, so I'm just happy to talk about it.
So you've enjoyed the past 6 interviews that you've done. Is it something that you enjoy talking about?
Yeah, I mean I don't not in a sense of like full of myself in a way, but I mean it feels good to kind of analyze everything that went down, and maybe from a viewer's perspective to want to ask questions about how I was feeling in the moment and how it seemed to them. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of cool to like think about both perspectives and think through those questions.
Someone on social media a little bit ago after you won posted a picture of you, super young kid wearing a Paul Macbeth shirt and holding a trophy. When you were a kid playing disc golf, did you dream of sitting here in these interviews after a big victory like this?
Yeah. I mean, ever since I really thought that disc golf was going to become the end result of the career for me, it's definitely always been a dream. Honestly, more of a dream to just win the tournament. You know, all this stuff hadn't really happened yet when I was dreaming that big, the growth and the cameras and all that stuff. But nowadays, it's a really awesome honor and opportunity to be in this position.
When you were a kid playing disc golf, what did your game look like? Were you throwing a bunch of chopped sidearm and just walking through the park? What did your throwing and putting look like?
I was definitely forehand dominant when I was little. I remember one of the most memorable shots was hitting off the cage from like 250 feet with just a forehand Valkyrie. It felt so good. And then it really became time to learn the backhand, because as being a right-handed player, you definitely need a backhand. And so, yeah, I feel like I've always tried to work both sides of the game. One's definitely outweighed the others for as long as I've played. But, yeah, I definitely went with more of a similar to Paul Macbeth style approach in the way he threw his forehand and his backhand. And, you know, who else would you copy? You know, he was dominating the sport at the time. So, yeah.
Well, it's really fun to watch you and a player like Gannon or any of these younger players that are coming up and popping off, kind of watching the wheels turning in your head as you're competing, and it seems like you're still learning a ton with each week that you're out here on the road. What clicked last week for your backhand? Do you feel like you kind of leveled up, so to speak?
It definitely came. I think I've always tried to focus on, you know, my backhand form is something I've always worked on trying to evolve and make better and more consistent. I think less moving parts means more consistency, especially, you know, in the high pressure moments. You need something that's going to work, and not have so many moving parts. So I think what clicked about it was just trying to throw the disc smooth. I think often a lot of players try to throw it too hard or try to be, you know, too controlling with the disc, if you want to say, like, they try to do too much with their form. So I just tried to keep with one swing and keep repeating that swing and only think about the way the shot was changing.
Well, I noticed the smoothness last week as well. I followed you out, you know, throughout the week. The one thing that I want to talk about, I talked about this briefly with Isaac Robinson, is the one special disc that you were throwing that really blew me away was that, I believe it's a Shockwave that you were throwing. That
Aftershock.
Aftershock.
Yeah. That
green mid-range that you were throwing all sorts of lines with last week. It's special when a player really truly clicks with a piece of equipment. And how did that reach your bag, and how long have you been throwing that thing for?
Yeah, so I mean, I've been throwing the Aftershock pretty much all season, but some more newer runs of the PL plastic. This is an older run. These green ones are older runs that I found at the warehouse in Santa Cruz during the week of Masters Cup before the OTB Open. Austin Hannum and Katrina Allen were also in town, so I was looking with Austin through some boxes, and he found them, and I was talking with Scott, and then he comes in with this stack of Aftershocks, and I'm like, these feel incredible. Show me the box that you got these from. And so we went back out in the warehouse, and they call it the vault because that's where their older stuff and runs are. I felt them. I'm like, this is the only Aftershock I will throw. Like, this feels so good. And so I picked up like 4 or 5 of them, and ever since I've just been throwing them. They're so controllable. They feel so good in the hand. They feel better than many other Aftershocks. But yeah, I feel like I have a lot of control with that disc. They're not too overstable, but not too understable, and they handle a lot of power. So it's really just a stable mid-range that I hope they can continue to replicate.
Well, you blew a lot of people's minds last week throwing that thing. So appreciate the story there, Cole. Here's Zoe Andike for a few more.
Hi, Cole, and welcome to Idlewild. Has it soaked in about last weekend's win?
It feels weird because I've never actually won an A tier yet. So to just come out of the water and just swing down a elite series, like it's kind of a crazy feeling. I don't think it's fully set in yet. I think it only will continue to. But yeah, I just still don't really believe it yet. I'm not sure that's kind of the way it's feeling right now.
Well, so I heard you talk to Brian a little bit about the extra interviews and the extra media this week and being able to talk about what happened. Do you think that helps you kind of relive and feel and absorb the experience?
Yeah, absolutely. I think hearing it from the mouths of other people and the way they felt about it actually helps me be like, oh yeah, that actually was pretty insane. Just other little comments there that I didn't really think about, or maybe I had thought about, but not in the magnitude that other people kind of saw it. So yeah, it's been cool to hear other people's opinions on it, and then that helps me process it all together as well. Yeah.
Well, your poise, your determination, and how you made it look so effortless. I know you and Brian just talked a little bit about that special mid-range and even throwing the putter so effortlessly. People around Oregon and around the country have been posting all over the place, inspired, that they want to play like Cole. How does that feel? And also, just what would you say to the people out there who are so inspired on how to stay in the present moment?
One thing I realized after that second round and going into the third round was everybody's in the same headspace kind of they need to walk up to their next shot and they need to execute it. There's not this superhuman person that's just going to walk up and know that the next shot's going to be perfect. Everybody's fighting that mental battle. Everybody has to execute the next shot just as well as they did the one before it. And that was a really important realization for me as far as just like everybody out here is the same as you. They have to execute the shot. They have to do all these things. So I try to keep that mindset, like you're no different than everybody else. And the fact that you're here means you deserve to be here, and that's all that mattered. So it made it a lot easier to focus on myself instead of other people because I know they're going to be in the same shoes that I was in.
All right, well, my final question is, you've been so busy. It's been so much just less than 1 week ago. Have you had time to practice, and how have the practice rounds gone?
Yeah, I've played 2 practice rounds. Kind of took a day off Monday, just getting settled into the new campground this week, and that was really nice, getting some extra rest. And then I was on the Jomez practice round on Tuesday, and then yesterday I got to play one with good friend Joel Freeman. Today and this afternoon, I'm about to go play one more and lock in that game plan. I think it's important in practice to not throw too many shots. Generally, when you walk up to a hole, you're going to be throwing one of the first 2 shots that you throw off that tee pad for the tournament. So, yeah, I try not to wear myself out too much during practice rounds, and sometimes less can be more. So,
You said it best. Thank you so much for joining us today, and best of luck to you all weekend long.
thank you so much.
We'll be right back. welcome back, everybody. We are joined by Big Money Missy, your defending champion and two-time champion of LWS Open last week. Missy, congratulations on such a huge accomplishment.
Thank you.
I want to start right there, though, with a year ago at Ledgestone, you averaged 988 golf, which is very impressive. And I'm not sure if you know this or not, you averaged 995 last weekend. So instead of asking you what it is about those courses, I want to ask you, just in general as a player, you've obviously leveled up numbers-wise. Do you feel like your game has evolved a bunch in just 1 year?
I think so. I think that I remember struggling sometimes last year with shying away from shots or feeling like timid on the tee. And that, I mean, I feel like that's like a confidence thing, but I have changed that mindset of like, it doesn't matter how small the gap is if I'm attacking it as if it's the biggest gap I've ever seen. I think that's been setting me up for more success, at least on those like wooded courses. So just trying not to be worried or scared, or just throwing the disc more confidently, and trusting that, you know, all of my work that I've put in will translate as long as I'm throwing it confidently.
I got to kind of trail off of that. It sounds like it's more fun to play disc golf at this level without fear. Would you agree?
Yeah, it's I've been saying that it's just been feeling a little bit easier. And you know, I still make mistakes, and I'm still going to throw some bad shots here and there, but when I am it feels like my game plans are very simple, and throwing the disc is feeling easier, and everything's just sort of clicking. And I think that just speaks to a lot of my consistency that I've found this year specifically.
Okay, well, I have a two-part question. First of all, have you had a chance to practice this week?
Yes.
How many practice rounds?
Just one so far. I practiced yesterday morning. There haven't been a ton of changes, and I haven't really changed much of my bag. You know, you'll see me throwing one disc a lot, and I mean that's sort of normal for me. But I'm such an instinctual player. I like to conserve my energy. Cole was just kind of talking about this. Less is more sometimes, and now when you're of my age, into my 30s, it's even more important to conserve energy and just trust, focus a lot harder on that one or two practice rounds that you put in, just so that you don't have to overexert yourself going into the tournament.
Okay, well, last week and very consistently, I'd say over at least the last couple of months, you have been leading or quite high on the tee to green stats, which is so impressive with the variety of courses. Studying how you played last year and how you've come in second place twice here, what's it going to take? What is the difference that you are so locked in on to get yourself on top of the podium this time?
Yeah, I think it's keeping stats like that up, and you know, my fairway percentages were a huge factor last weekend, and that's going to play huge at this course as well. Staying in the fairway, minimizing the big numbers, and you know, taking just single bogeys if you have to, and just sticking with what I've been doing. It's been working, and I just gotta keep it just the way it is.
It's working well, and we wish you luck this weekend. Here is Brian Earhart with just a couple questions.
Great.
Hello, Missy.
Hey, Brian.
You mentioned that you are the kind of player that likes to throw as few discs as possible. You like just going with what's working, whatever disc is working for you that day. And recently it's been one specific distance driver, but I want to talk about it. How has the whole bag been this season? Have you been switching things out a lot? How is that one disc holding up over time? Is it breaking in?
Yeah. I mean, it is. It's thankfully holding up. It's just a stock ESP Thrasher that I've had since I joined Team Discraft, I'm pretty sure. She's like a little off-white color, and she's seen a lot of things. But I just know exactly what that disc is going to do, no matter the conditions. and as long as like the wind stays pretty minimal, I can throw that on a lot of tee shots out here. So you'll see it. You'll
Talk
see it a
about
lot.
the rest of the bag. I mean, has anything new come in? Has anything old come out of the bag throughout the whole season?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've like put in a couple of like the special runs that have been released. I have a lot of good conversations with Discraft about like what discs I like and when we want to come out with like a limited run. So I have one of the new Z Dropbaker Thrashers in my bag. I have some new Mantises, and but for the most part, yeah, I probably don't have to carry as many discs as I do, but I feel lost without all of them, even if they never see the light of day.
I think there's a lot of disc golfers that would totally relate to you saying that. I think all of us have one or two that we could just probably throw every shot with.
Thankfully, I have a caddy, so sorry, Tom, but we're keeping them all in there. He already knows that.
Tom is just seething right now. But with that said, Missy, good luck this week, and a lot of people rooting for you. We'll see you out there.
Thank you so much.
Welcome back. Joined here by Calvin Heimburg. Calvin, we're here at Idlewild. You come here year after year. Just overall thoughts on the property and how it's evolved over time.
It's definitely changed a decent bit. I wasn't here last year. I was in Norway a little early, so I haven't been here since 2021. But so it's my first time seeing a lot of these changes. Like hole 3 and 4 are new for me. They changed 12. There's another change out here I can't think about. They definitely widened the left side of hole 16's fairway. And then there's probably something else I'm forgetting that they did. But yeah, it definitely looks a lot different. I noticed they came out here and cleared a lot of undergrowth out in some spots, especially noticeable on the left side of 18. But yeah, I would say like compared to like the first time I made it out here, the course play is quite a bit easier. There's definitely, like, I just remember in the past, you'd throw off the fairway and you'd be struggling to pitch out in some spots, as opposed to now where I feel like you're going to be progressing from even like a bad kick. So the course definitely plays a lot easier. I know last year, you know, we saw the winner at like 30-something under par, which I think 5 years ago, no one would even dream of a winner being at 30 under par. And it's not just because we're getting better. I think the course is just becoming a little easier to play.
Well, let's actually go back to last week at Ledgestone and talk about how Northwood played. You said Northwood looked a lot more open, played a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Over the course of the weekend, how did you feel about that type of wooded course clearing out so much undergrowth?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was one of those things where it definitely, when I threw bad shots, I felt way more comfortable, getting back to where I needed to be, which I feel like I did plenty of during the third round. So I feel like I got out of there way cleaner than, I would have expected to with how poorly I was throwing out there. So it definitely made it easier. I don't think there's any denying that. But as I said, if you throw good shots out there, nothing changed on that course for you.
When you said that at the press conference, it got me thinking quite a bit about just that element of course design. I think, yes, it's nice to have opportunities to scramble from kind of thicker stuff. It punishes the players, but then the risk of losing a disc comes into play as well. Is there a certain type of undergrowth that you would want always removed, and then others that you'd like there and left alone?
I don't know. I just think a lot of it just kind of depends on what style of course you're trying to design and how you want it to play. But I think courses like Northwood or even here, like, you should probably leave it kind of untouched because, like, especially here, it's like it's not the longest course, so and you just have opportunities to make choices as to where, like, do I want to be a little more conservative or not? But I mean, they've cleared out a bunch of stuff, so it's just there isn't really a choice to be conservative anymore. You kind of just have to be aggressive.
Definitely. Last week at Ledgestone, you had I don't even know if you could call it a heartbreaking loss, but you lost narrowly to Kerl Redalen, who shot a phenomenal final round. When you shoot such a great final round and you still take second, does that feel more sour than maybe losing a lead at the end?
No, I would say losing a lead at the end feels way worse. Because, like, in the end, like, you lost that, you had control to, you had your own destiny in your hands, as opposed to that, like, Kerl just shot an amazing final round, and he really just shot 4 really good rounds back to back to back to back. So Kerl was just going to be tough to beat, last weekend. And yeah, I mean, I played a great final round. I didn't get to play with Kerl though either. So it's just like there was really nothing sour about taking second there. I played a good final round. I bounced back after playing a pretty poor third round, so it felt good to throw well.
Where does the ace on hole 10 final round rank with all of your tournament aces that you've gotten over the years?
That is definitely my best tournament ace that I've ever had. I've only ever had 2 other tournament aces, but I have one throw-in that I would put above it. I got it a long time ago back at a course in Florida, and I got an albatross on a par 5 where I threw it in from about 480 or so over water. So that's going to be pretty hard to top, but the ace last week was pretty awesome.
Well, thank you for that, Calvin. Good luck this week, and here's Zoe for a few more.
Hi, Calvin.
Hello.
And welcome to Idlewild. It was nice to hear some of your reflection on the course since you haven't had a chance to really prep much here in previous years. And so I want to jump straight in. Actually, I want to zoom out and say you've had such a phenomenal season. You got 3 wins and podium finishes almost every weekend. How much do you like doing these press conference interviews?
Honestly, don't love the press conferences. I don't know. I would rather just go about my day and do my normal thing, but we're here. Hopefully the people watching like them, but it definitely just feels like a weird 10-minute blurb to frame your day around.
Well, let me give you something that the people are asking to answer, and you know that this is coming straight out of questions that we see online. Last week, when you were on the chase card, were you really keen in watching the U-disc every hole, every shot? How often were you checking, or were you just playing your own game, not worried about this live scoring?
Yeah, I didn't get to check scores until I walked over to 13. I went into the round, I think, like 4 back, and when you're that far back, you really just have to be pressing the whole time, and you really have to execute at a high level to even have a chance at catching anyone. So I took a look when I was going over to the 13 and saw I really hadn't gained anything. So, it was just still keep pressing, but odds of winning were pretty low at that point unless I had birdied out. But, in the end, I think, like, I literally would have had to shoot 18 under to push a playoff. So, yeah, Kerl was just playing great. I did see the scores then, but after that, when I saw him, in my mind, it didn't really matter. It was kind of just playing for second at that point.
All right, and then my final question has to do, again, with people wondering how these top touring players take care of themselves on a 3-week stretch like this. We're going Ledgestone, Idlewild, D-Glow, and really, how many practice rounds can you play this week and next week, or what is your plan to preserve the body?
Yeah, I think a lot of it's just going to depend on how I'm feeling. You know, this course isn't the longest. It's pretty easy to play and get through, so practice rounds here have been pretty easy. But once you get out to D-Glow, depending on the weather, those practice rounds are definitely, you know, more strenuous and take more out on the body. So it's just, you know, making sure that your practice is meaningful when you're out there, and then if it needs to be limited, just make sure it's limited and you're ready for the event. Because I think since it's a playoff event, I think it's 4 rounds this year. I could be wrong on that, but it's definitely going to be a long week.
All right, thank you for joining us today, Calvin, and we wish you the best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
We'll be right back on the network. We are back on the Disc Golf Network here, joined with Ohn Scoggins. Ohn, welcome to Idlewild.
Thank you for having us.
Last weekend, first of all, congratulations on a solid second place. Do you realize you averaged 988 golf throughout the event?
Thank you for letting me know. I didn't know it. I'm just so busy, and I just feel like I saw my score. I shot 2 times 1,000, and then the other one was not even beat my rating. So overall, I get it's okay out there.
And overall, how impressed were you with yourself having a deficit and coming back to get that second place on the podium?
Ooh, I fought hard. I keep looking at score, I know I make a lot of mistakes. That's why I asked my husband, hey, can you look at my score right now? I know I'm probably drop. And it does. I drop like 2 or 3, maybe two spots. Like I'm from second, right? And then I drop to like maybe even 4 or 5 place. And I just talk to myself like, wow, what have you done, you know? And I talk with myself, hey, in the next coming hole, like those I can birdie, so just keep that, try to birdie the most I can, and then just no more bogey, and it was go with my plan after that. Yeah.
So I did want to ask how often, especially during the final rounds, do you have your caddy checking the scores? Is it just when it feels like you need to know? Is it regularly?
Oh, every round, every tournament. Like I'm the person, like I'm not scared to look at my score. I'm not trip out anything easily. Even I got 6 or double bogey, you know, I'm pretty calm with my game. I talk with myself, hey, you know, it's just mistake and it's just a score. I can look anytime. It's not even messed up. Somehow even better for me. So it's made me decide to lay up, go for it, or play aggressive, you know. And I talk with my husband. He's the one who's scared to look at score. I was like, can you look at score for me? Like, no, it's scary. Like, hello, I'm a person playing here. I'm not even scared. So he had to like show me the score. I'm like, okay, now I think I need to play aggressive. Now I have to like the birdie this one or make the putt. And so far I do that, and I know like I have to birdie or at least like par, and it's yeah. So that's why make me aggressive play on the last front back nine. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for sharing about that. So kind of zooming into this weekend, this seems like a course that you would excel at with all the different angles you're throwing the disc on, both backhand and forehand. How would you rank this course, and what are you most excited to attack out here?
I'm pretty sure compared with last week, this course is harder. So far, I didn't shot any, like, even 3 down. I didn't shot 3 down yet. It's so hard, like, it's just only one weird ankle. It can kick you to the wood and scramble out with hard, up and down, a lot of OB. This course, I feel like maybe the hard round, 4 or 5 down, that's probably a hard round. And I think even, it should be top, make you top, like top 10 in the first day, no problem. Because so far I practiced, I think the best score maybe 1 down, or this morning I practiced, I was +1 with a lot of bogey and some birdie mix, and I feel like if I'm not shot like 2 or 3 down, it's gonna be a lot of people not shot that hot either. So even I have sidearm or backhand, I try every 2.5 out there, it's still like big teeth. Got me good in this course. Good luck out there.
Well, I just have one more question for you. Congratulations on moving up into the top 5 for the DGPT standings. And how important is that to you to go in the highest ranked in the DGPT standings that you possibly can for the Tour Championships?
It is. It's been everything to me, because it showed me how hard work all year is pay off. Every tournament by tournament, you know, after next and next, and it show you perform. It will show you the end of the year, your rating, your top whatever rank in the world. And this tournament also, if I play good top 10, it will bump me. I'm pretty sure like at least like 1 more to bump me up if I still top 10. If not, it's okay, because I'll put everything on it. I don't have even a day off. So it's me and everything, and I would love to even make at least top 8, you know, for Pro Tour rank. So hard work will pay off, I think.
That's right. Well, good luck this weekend, Ohn. Thank you for joining us, and here's Brian Earhart.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, Ohn.
Hey, what up?
You mentioned, potentially jokingly, at your last interview at Ledgestone that you were going to go out and practice more after the interview was done. Did you actually go and do that?
Oh, hell yeah.
What did you go do after the tournament ended? What kind of practice did you do?
You know, it's like last week when I finished Ledgestone, and I drove here for like maybe 4.5 hours, and I just straight to course, practice but I have short time, so I only able to play like 16 hole, And then after that, I come back again the next day. I didn't even have a day off yet. And after that, like I'm partying. I just feel like nowadays you cannot even just take even day off for me. That's how I feel like. When I feel like I take a day off, I feel like, man, I'm not feeling good. You know, I'm like, a lot of people was out there at the course. They ahead of me now. That's how I talk to myself. They're ahead of me. Even I'm lying down one day, I'm like, oh, no, this is not right. I need to be out there and practice hard as they are. So, but you can see, like, right now, everybody put heart and soul because the big money on the way and the big payout, you know, at the end of the day. So, it's okay, you know, you work hard, but this is a fun job.
Of course.
I don't mind to work all day this month.
Well, let's actually talk about this because when you practice and you play, you throw a lot of power sidearm, big flex shot sidearm with the distance driver. And a lot of players who put in a ton of practice end up with some sort of soreness or overuse injury or something happens. How do you keep your shoulder fresh to practice as much as you do? Is there a secret fitness regimen that we're not aware of?
Well, I use 2-3 method. First of all, eat very healthy. I eat a lot of fruits, vegetable, organic stuff. Like, if you see me, a lot of people see me cooking out here. And all my food was a lot of vegetable and organic stuff. Drink a lot of water, stretching, and I think eat healthy is the key right here. And less drinking, a lot of water is the key. It will always make you like strong. And you know, I feel great. Like you see, like I'm sitting here, I feel great. Like I practice. I didn't take even day off, and I feel like 18 years old. So, you know.
Well, that's scary for the rest of the field. Ohn, thank you so much for sharing that with us. Good luck out there this week.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back in just a few. Welcome back, joined here by a very special guest, Matt Orum. Matt, welcome. Feels like it's been a while since we've had you on one of these, and I just want to ask you, how's your season going so far, mentally, physically? How's everything going?
It's going good. I started off pretty good. I had like a surgery all in the off season again, so I kind of had like not much practice in the off season. Did really pretty good, and then took a month break off. Came back pretty good, but I ain't gonna lie, I'm kind of feeling my age. I'm starting to loosen up now, but going to Europe, playing KC Wide Open for that every weekend, going to Europe, felt my age when I came back, so I had to take a little week off. Kind of didn't practice much for Redstone just because I know the depth of the schedule's coming up here. It's the playoffs, man, so let my body rest up, get it right, so I can make this last little push to the playoffs. You know.
Well, let's talk about just your overall game. Ohn just complimented you just a little bit ago, saying you're kind of similar to her in the MPO division. You've lasted a long time, and you've played at a very high level for a very long time. You just dropped 1 point in the player ratings to 1039, which is insane. That you were on the lead card World Championships in 2005. How have you maintained this high of a level of play over the years?
Just maybe just playing smart, just grinding out, just knowing that like when I know I can't win, I still just try to do the best I can. Or 90% of the time I'll pull that off. I'm not going to say I do it all the time because we all lose it a little bit every now and then. But I really know that realistically, I don't look at the scores like, oh, and I wish I could. I'm still frightful. I don't like cell phones. So when I see all them numbers, I'm like, oh, no. You know, I don't. You see the 15, 16 hole there, I'm like, oh, that's too much for me. But I do accept, because I kind of feel like we know where we're at, what we got to do. Obviously, like last weekend's with Kerl Redalen's shooting the way he does, you don't expect 36 down, so there's other causes where you're like that, you know. But, you know, I realistically tell myself, though, like, hey, you know, Calvin's out there killing it. It's an open course. Everybody's kind of doing it. Maybe you should just sit back and play it smart, get through this tournament without making drastic errors and make a good finish, and that's good for the point standings. I don't even know where I'm at in the point standings right now, but I know I'm trying to push for that. I'm trying to get to that top 8. That's one of my main goals this year, is try to get to the top 8, the final standings. So get them, you know, what you call it, the round buys. I want a couple buys like last year. That's I like that.
Well, you're pretty high up there in the rankings. You're
Tell
doing
me.
pretty solid this year.
Gotta let me know.
On PDGA, it says your United States Tour rank is 6. So, not too shabby. Let's talk, though. Idlewild, right here this week. You're from the Southeast. There's a lot of Southeastern-style golf out here. How do you fare out here?
Pretty good. We're kind of like right here on the you know, Mason-Dixon border right here. But, like, I feel like this is, like, the Yankee part of that boundary because, like, a lot of these holes remind me of the Northeast. Honestly, they have, like, a very Northeastern feel to them. Like, I feel like if you transplanted me on some of these holes and, like, where you're at, I'd probably be like Pennsylvania or Jersey, you know. But so I kind of feel like it has that Northeastern feel, which I do love. I like playing up there, too. So, you know, I feel like the sidearm ski and just making less bogeys. Bogeys are going to drastically take you back this week.
Can you elaborate on the difference, at least from your opinion, of the Northeastern style of woods golf compared to Southeastern?
Pine trees, number one. So we got taller pine trees, you know, like Northeast is a little more covered, definitely a little more hilly. Always seems like they got mulch. We got pine straw. It's just got a little, and then we're always there during September, so you get the little cooler weather. We're always down south, it's always hot as heck, you know, so little baby differences, but they both have a little similarity to them. Kind of that whole East Coast is always seems like it's got more woods than everywhere else on the...
Calvin just mentioned that a lot of the underbrush on this course is starting to slowly clear out over time, and he said that the course is playing a lot easier. Are you feeling like you're going to have to shoot 3 rounds of 12 under to win?
I wouldn't maybe say 3 rounds of 12, but I definitely think 3 rounds double digits for sure. The last couple weekends, they've kind of cleared out the edges, have definitely made them a lot more friendlier. I kind of don't like it myself because I like to see the struggle. I like whenever the punishment. And but 3 rounds, this course is like you gotta press the gas pedal down this one because it's only 3 rounds, and this is one of the tournaments I would rather see 4 rounds because I feel like 3 rounds, a 4th round here would be really critical versus somebody kind of maybe getting some breaks, making their putts, and getting through it in 3 rounds versus 4 rounds where there's just so much that can still happen.
Is that because there's a few holes out here where you feel like there's some dice roll opportunities?
Oh, yeah, like 17, the Anaconda. And I mean, that one, I still don't even know what I'm going to do on that one. Yeah, it's only 258 feet or whatever, 270 feet. So, I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, just cross your fingers and toes and wish for the best. But there's a couple of them like that, but it's definitely cleared up where I don't think it's that much no more. And then, like, the addition of the hole 4 versus the old layout is definitely, I love that hole 4, yeah. I love that hole. It's got, like, that kind of Northwoods Junior feel to it a little bit, you know. But, yeah, I think it's going to definitely have to you got to have to be on it this week.
Well, thank you, Matt. Appreciate all the clarity and the insight there. Here's Zoe Endyke for just a few more.
Appreciate you calling that clarity.
Hello, MattyO.
Hey.
I am great, and it is so fantastic to see you out here again. I want to zoom way out from this tournament this weekend and ask you a couple questions. There's a lot of people out there that have been watching you for years, and there's a lot of new players in disc golf that want to really get to know who MattyO is, because you've got a lot of style, you've got seemingly most all the shots, and you have been really holding an elite kind of standing for many, many years. So how old were you when you first picked up a disc?
I knew about it my whole life, but it was probably when I was 11 when I really played, just because it was more of like frisbee golf, not disc golf back then. There weren't no juniors. Like, literally, I used to look in the back of the magazine, and I knew who all the juniors were. I knew who Greg Barsby was. I knew who Miles Harding was. I knew who Garrett Gerthy was. Because I looked at it, and there was only a couple juniors. If they even had a juniors division, they're like, oh, Greg Barsby, that sounds like a California kid that looks pretty good. Miles Harding, that's another California. He sounds like he's good, just by the name, And then I met Garrett when we were real young. He was 9, I think, when we met. So it was, but we knew about each other, and I just kept grinding it from there, just playing there. But I knew about the game my whole life when I was a kid. But I'd be like, Dad, watch my finger pop, throw it. Be like, as long as you don't hit the camper, it'll be all right. And I'd hit the camper every time. He'd give me a little, I swear, it was just the way it was. So I was like, I ain't going to play. Nope. And then wait another 8 months, do the same thing. And it was about 11 when I started missing the camper, I guess.
And were there other sports involved in your childhood and growing up that you were competitive in?
Baseball for sure. I thought I was going to be a baseball player my whole life. Dreamed about it. So glad I decided not to do that. Man, 162 days, non-travel, stop, blah, blah, blah. Sounds a lot. Feel like I would have burned out on it. And I was just kind of just your traditional neighborhood hooper. Just shot threes, played defense, passed to the best player of the team so he'd give me the ball back. Just kind of guy, Just wanted to get picked.
Well, thank you for sharing all that. There are so many people that want to see you on top of the podium. So now I want to ask one more thing for all the new players to this event this weekend. We all know that MattyO has all the spots for the local grub. Where would you recommend to eat or find yourself when you're out here at Idlewild?
Let me think. Man, last year I hung out at the mall a lot over here in Florence, and I like Sbarro's, believe it or not, because I believe it's like the best fast food pizza in the world. I think I'm right. So I like that. They've taken them all away too, man. There ain't many Sbarro's left. So I dig that, and then, but that's unfortunately my pick this week.
Well, hey, you got to take what you can get. Everyone's looking and rooting for you to podium finish and find yourself on top. Good luck this weekend.
Boom. Matley Crew.
And we'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. We are joined here with Macy Velediaz. Hello, Macy, and welcome to Idlewild.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fantastic, and I want to say congratulations on a top 5 finish last week.
Thank you.
It's the first time we've seen you in that position since Music City Open, and I'd like to hear just kind of an overall assessment of how does Macy feel about her game in this 2023 season?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. Going back and looking from last year, I've played better than last year. But I think what's helped me with this next half of the season, and especially what helped me at Ledgestone, is I'm trying to turn the mindset of when I first started, I had a lot of natural ability, and I've kind of started being like, all right, I'm done let the natural ability just like consume who I am, and now I'm like going to start taking it and go out there and practicing more. And I do practice a lot, but I just go out there and I used to just play the course and that was it. But now I'm doing a lot of field work and putting a lot, so it's kind of how it's been going for this half of the season.
And my next question, you kind of led right into it, is what are some of the main focuses of where you want to improve in your game?
Yeah. I really want to improve on just trusting my backhand approach shots. I lean to throwing a lot of harp forehands. If I can find any way to throw a harp forehand, that's what I'll throw. But right now I'm working on that, working on my circle 2 putts. I think once I get those dialed, because I put myself in circle 2 a lot, but I can't I can get the putts there, but they're not falling. So once they start falling, I think that'll help my game a lot.
Well, you are known as somebody on the tour that has distance forehand, distance backhand. This course does require a lot of that. Tell me how you are going to attack this weekend.
Yeah, so this course, I'm pretty sure I throw forehand almost all the holes. I throw whether it be a tee shot or an up shot, it's a lot of forehands, and that excites me because I like to throw a lot of forehands. I have more control of my forehands. Now I have more distance backhand, but I lean on the forehand a lot, so I'm really excited to play this course. Also, this is my 4th year here, so crazy to think that the very first year here at Idlewild, my first Pro Tour event, I aced hole 9, which was crazy, and then I didn't cash last 2 years, and then last year I think I got 6th place, so pretty cool to see how fast I've grown.
Well, and it speaks to the depth of the talent. I heard you say, it was so natural and you were just leaning into playing the courses, natural skills. Then you cashed, then you found yourself out of it, you're back on it. Let's talk just a little bit about the depth of the field and the talent. I mean, are you feeling it kind of every weekend, just breathing down the neck?
Yeah, I mean, every weekend, every shot, I'm nervous to throw every single shot because I know as soon as I make a mistake, somebody's birdieing in the hole. As soon as I bogey, someone's birdieing. And I feel like everybody in the field has a chance to win. Everybody has their own special thing. And the competition is getting better and better. And I'm excited to see where the next years come because it's crazy. And I'm looking for that. I've had a Silver Series win, but I'm really looking forward to having my first Elite Series win. So I feel like it's coming. When it's my time, it's going to be my time. And that's what I keep telling myself. I can't rush it. Whatever happens, it's going to happen. So that's kind of the mindset I've been having too.
One final question before I pass it off. We're on a 3-week stretch again, and we just had a small break, and we had that just a few weeks back. How are you preserving your energy and taking care of the body to make sure that you can last through these stretches? Yeah,
unlike Ohn, when she said that, she does a lot of those chop forehands. And for my forehand, my shoulder and elbow start to hurt a lot if I throw a lot of them. So I've taken some medicine. But I've been trying to do a lot of stretching, trying to eat healthier. I've been working out more. But I like to, when we have these back-to-back tournaments, I like to take the Monday off and let me and Jamie go do something fun. I think next Monday we're going to go to the zoo. So just take a day off and then get right back to work.
Thank you so much for your insight and sharing. And here's Brian.
Yeah, thank you.
A couple questions for you. First off, you mentioned to Zoe that you're done with just trusting the natural talent. You're trying to get out, be more regimented with the way you approach the game. Has that changed the enjoyment of the game at all for you, or is it kind of the same?
Yeah, it has actually. I want to come out and play. I used to kind of just be like, oh, here I go, I have to go practice again. And I don't know why I kind of got into that mindset. But now, since I've been really wanting to put in the work, I've just been so excited to get out to the course and throw. And that excites me because now it's like I have relied on that natural ability, but imagine what I'm going to be like if I just put that extra work in and then, fix my craft. So I'm really excited about where I'm going to go.
And then how much practice is on the disc golf course itself compared to throwing in a field to practice?
So me and Jamie like to go home a lot. So when I'm home, I'll try to do more of the field work and more of putting. But with having these back-to-back tournaments, I do like to go to the course and throw a lot. But instead of, I used to just throw like one shot and be like, okay, that's good. Now I'm throwing like, okay, I threw the shot good. Now let me try throwing the same exact shot with that line and try to land in a similar spot. So that's been helping me a lot as well.
Well, my question for you about this is really from watching you throw forehand. It looks so effortless. It looks natural, and it almost feels like automatic for you. How much are you actually putting field work in to the forehand these days? And I ask that because I've talked to a lot of forehand dominant players, and they say they barely put field work time into it.
Yeah,
anymore.
honestly, I probably throw a couple forehands, and then it's mostly working on the backhand because I feel like I'm more consistent with my forehands, and I know that if I put it on one angle, it's going to go that way. With a backhand, it's tricky. You know, you have to throw it right angle, the right height, the right nose up. Now, I just feel like on a forehand, I can just rip it on one angle, and then it's going to go that way.
It's interesting that we hear that from so many people. It's not like the backhand dominant players are not throwing the backhand in the field. It's just the forehand players.
Yeah.
But thank you for that insight, and good luck out there this week. A lot of people rooting for you. We'll see you out there.
Yeah, thank you. I don't want to say one more thing. My papa's watching, so I wanted to say hi to him.
And we'll be right back after that wonderful greeting. Just a few. Welcome back. Joined here now by co-TD, Jason Kerl. Jason, thanks for joining us today. I have to ask you, you mentioned that you were born and raised here, about, you said, 10 miles away. Can you comment on your history with the disc golf community here?
Oh, so I've probably been playing since the late 80s. You know, just recreational like everybody, you know, with the Frisbee back in the day. Probably 2000 something, got a little competitive. Found the local community, Greater Cincinnati. It was the Flying Disc Association then. Got a hold of some tournaments, you know, back when you had to mail in your check and things like that. And then 2009, started working with Fred Salas, who used to own the Natty Disc Golf. And then just dive in from there.
Talk about what the disc golf landscape looked back then when you joined the club. You said late 80s.
Yeah.
Was it just disc golf, or was it still kind of an overall thing where people did a bunch of different disciplines?
I think it was a little bit of overall, but I also think back then you would see like maybe 4 or 5 people on the course. A lot different than today. Fortunately, Cincinnati has had a lot of courses throughout the years. So, you know, we had the beginner courses all the way up to some harder courses back then, which aren't so hard anymore, but yeah.
Well, talk about the evolution of the courses in this area. I mean, there seem to be so many. If you look at UDisc, it looks like there's disc golf everywhere. How much have you had a part to do with that, and maybe some other people in the community?
So we've got roughly 49 courses now within 30 miles of downtown. Everything from some old school steady ed design courses all the way up to Idlewild, everything in between. I've helped design a couple courses here and there. We got 3 more in the works right now, which I'll get to after this is done. But yeah, it's, we've had other cities call us, like, how do you guys have so many courses? Fortunately for us, we have some awesome county park systems, like Boone County, where this course is at, is just amazing. And if they get property, we don't have to seek them out. It's like, hey, we got this property, got a couple of years, we want to put a disc golf course, see you in a couple of years and we'll get it in.
Well, I think that's amazing to hear.
Yeah.
Well, especially people who are coming to potentially watch this tournament.
Right.
Can you give some recommendations maybe for the spectators there to come watch around and then go play themselves?
Actually, about 2 miles down the road, Boone Woods, old school course, been there for a long time, a little on the easier side. Lincoln Ridge, which has been my home course, I live 3 minutes away from there. Super fun, to me, probably the most fun course in Cincinnati. A lot of woods, technical courses or holes. And then, of course, where our shop's at, the Nati Disc Golf, Mount Airy Forest. It's been a staple in Cincinnati for a long, long time. Also, the new course, DeVue, right down by the Ohio River, Northern Kentucky, is an outstanding course.
I feel like you're just scratching the surface of what they could all experience
Yeah,
out there.
for sure.
But let's zoom into this week. A lot of players, including Calvin Heimburg, saying that the underbrush is starting to thin out a little bit out here. Talk about some of the changes that have happened over the past year here at Idlewild.
To be honest, I would love to go back and have this tournament win this first one in. To me, it's a lot easier. The problem is, so the underbrush that we're taking out is either A, for spectators, and most of that underbrush is really just honeysuckle. Honeysuckle does nothing for, it does no good. So the underbrush that's getting cleared out, it's not a whole lot of underbrush. It's really just honeysuckle that has just overtaken this course. Yeah, we're trying to keep the teeth. Used to be you get 5 feet off the fairway, you were in jail. It's a little softer now, but I think it looks better. It's cleaner, not necessarily harder. But it also gives people an opportunity to score on the course. Instead of just trying to scramble out of some honeysuckle that is, I heard MattyO say, we're taking some of the teeth out of it. It'll come back.
Well, let's talk about one of the big changes. Hole number 12 got kind of a facelift.
It did.
Talk about the design philosophy and then also the reason for making the change.
Okay. So we kind of evaluate the entire course after the tournament. We evaluate scores, everything. The problem with that hole is merely safety concern. 12's basket is too close to 13's tee, and it's downhill to the tee box. And a lot of people are throwing overstable fairway drivers to approach that. They hit on edge, flare skip right at the other tee. You got 4 players there, but also when you have 200-300 people in a gallery standing there, we didn't want to change that hole. That's the last thing we wanted to do. But out of safety concerns, it needed to happen.
Well, Jason, thank you so much for all the clarity and all the answers.
Anytime.
Here's Zoe Andike for just a few more.
Perfect.
Hi, Jason. Thank
Hello.
you so much for welcoming us all and really putting on so much this week.
Yeah.
Could you talk about some of the special activations or the special events that leading up to or even during this event that players and spectators can experience?
Yeah, so Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday we had a flex start. Tuesday we had it at Mount Airy. Wednesday was at Lincoln Ridge. Today there's a flex start at Boone Woods right up the road. Last night, which you were at, super awesome time. Props to Florence Y'all Stadium for letting us have our meet and greet / fly mart there. What we have 100 kids there. Super fun turnout for them. And I was super excited to see that. It was fun to take it away from the course, take it somewhere different, give everybody a little something more special.
Yeah, I can't speak to how much that environment of being in the stadium, the pros enjoyed it, the families enjoyed it, and the kids down on that field. That was a pretty spectacular thing. And for everybody that was at Flymart to be a part of the event, how do you think that the locals felt about that?
I think they, from what I've heard, very receptive. Not that I'm checking online too much, a little too busy right now, but everybody was super down for it. Fortunately, the rain stopped at like 6 o'clock. Didn't start back up till 9 o'clock. And the kids had an absolute blast down there on the field.
All right. Well, just a couple more questions here.
Yeah.
Between you and your closest staff that you're working with, how often do you ever get to play disc golf?
Next question. No, I'm just kidding. I play, to be honest with you, so I go to like Emporia every year for either the DDO or GBO to help out. I was just down at the National Scout Jamboree helping out with Dynamic Discs down there. When I'm out of town, I find time to play. I love playing new courses. But here in town, owning a disc golf business, running tournaments, especially right now, it's a tournament almost every 3 weeks. And our tournaments are 360 players. Which we just had 3 weeks ago. So I don't get to play as much. I'd like to get out there, but, other priorities in life.
All right, last question. What would it take for you to feel like you're finishing on top of the podium this weekend? What do you want to see outcome from the Idlewild event?
No rain.
Awesome, yep.
It's Idlewild. It's going to have rain. Just everybody have a good time. Everybody enjoy the course. We'll take feedback, positive, negative, whatever. My goal this year was, on my side, was to focus more on the spectator experience. You'll notice on 12 and 18, spectators, that's all been cleared out, so spectators can come up and down that. That was kind of my goal, to have everybody come out positive this year.
Well, thank you so much
You're very
for
welcome.
shedding some insight, and good luck to your staff this weekend.
Yeah, we thank you.
And we'll be right back. And we are joined on the network here with Christine Jennings for our final interview. Christine, welcome to Idlewild.
Hello.
Can you, just for the people out there that don't really know what's going on behind the scenes, talk about what is your position and how many years have you been with the DGPT?
So technically, I'm an executive administrator, and I've been with the company for 3 years. I was part-time for the first 2 because I was playing and doing some other things, but I went full-time this year, and I kind of started dabbling into the operations at the beginning of the year because I told them I wanted to be on site and kind of help out a little bit. So I do a little bit of both right now, and I really enjoy it.
And we've gotten a chance to see you walking some of those final or top card FPO rounds. Can you talk a little bit about, first of all, have you had a chance to help with some FPO design and just what that's doing for the tour, if you're able to give more feedback into what the FPOs need out there?
Yeah, in terms of course design, I don't want to take too much credit whatsoever. I did go to Portland to kind of help on the redesign of that one course. I believe it was the east side. I gave some perspective. The other course designers, mainly Jeff, did what he did want. Took what he wanted out of it. So again, not taking any credit at all on that. But I was there, and then just in terms of like being on site, I'm generally walking with the lead card as the marshal to be there, and then obviously observing, and also listening to feedback. So I just kind of fly by the seat of my pants right now, take in all the information that I can, and then just try to take that feedback and make the tour better for everyone involved.
Well, can you speak to what it's like being a woman in this Disc Golf Pro Tour work environment? There's not a lot of women employed by the DGPT. How is it for you out there?
I really enjoy it. I think that just everyone that works for the Pro Tour in general, we kind of feel like a big family, and all of us get along really well. We all know that we work hard for a common goal, and so I think it's nice to see. We've been hiring a few more women, so more so on the admin side. You don't really see them on site as often, but we do have more women coming in, and it's great.
All right, well, I did some of my research on you as a disc golf player. You had 5 FPO wins in 2022. This season, we haven't seen you so much on the course. Are you able to play very often?
Not really, and that's kind of by choice. I knew when I was ending last year that I was going to pivot to being full-time with the Pro Tour, and so that meant that I wasn't going to be able to play a lot, and I accepted that, and I've honestly just not had time at this moment to even think about playing, and just kind of trying to enjoy other aspects of life. I've been playing for 7 years now, and I think now I'm like, okay, I'm good on not playing. Let's have some weekends off and when I'm not on site and see what that's like.
All right. Well, so for this weekend at Idlewild, with you being here on site, can you speak to what the 1 or 2 things would be that would feel like a win for you or for the staff coming out of this weekend?
Jason touched on earlier, we don't like to say the R word, but that would be nice if that stayed away. Otherwise, I think in general, when competition ends, when the last putt of MPO drops at the end of the day, that's always just nice to be like, okay, everything on the checklist went through the way it was supposed to, and, let's see if there was anything that we can do better for tomorrow. So.
And I guess my final question is, how do you personally sustain, or like when you're on the road for 3 or 4 weeks in a row, what is it that you find away from disc golf that just keeps it real for you and keeps you coming back?
I think just trying to focus on finding time alone. I'm always talking to a lot of people when I'm on site, making a lot of decisions. Just try to find that peaceful time alone to kind of decompress. That's about all I need to kind of start back fresh the next day.
Well, good luck to you this weekend, and here's Brian Earhart.
Thank you.
Hello, Christine.
Hello.
I would talk about politics, but I guess we could keep it more about disc golf and you. But so I have a question for you. You went on tour to play disc golf for a little bit. Now you transitioned to more of the administrative side. Now you're doing more operations stuff. You also have your real estate license. You're wearing so many hats. My question is, before disc golf, before you went on tour and did all that, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Ooh, that's a tough question. I originally started going to school to be an illustrator, and I didn't fulfill that. I didn't finish that. I think during the time of taking those classes, I kind of just saw a different trajectory. I didn't necessarily know what that was, and it was right about that time when disc golf came along. And so I guess that has just been my answer since then.
What did going on tour for disc golf and playing all the biggest tournaments, what did that teach you as a person and I guess a professional?
The biggest thing that I've learned, I think, over the years is just perspective. Everyone has different perspectives. Everyone has a different way of living. Everyone has their rights and wrongs. And so just because it's right for somebody doesn't mean that it's right for you, or vice versa. And I think, yeah, it's just opened my eyes on different ways of living and different ways that, people perceive their life. So it's been very interesting.
Well, let's talk about your perspective. I mean, I know this season's been very stressful for a lot of reasons, but it's also been great for other reasons. How are you feeling about the state of disc golf and the state of the Pro Tour right now?
Sure, it's stressful, but I feel like we're all in this knowing that we all have this common goal of, like, we want disc golf to be bigger and better. So I think that, a lot of people in their own ways have different sacrifices that they give, and that's kind of the boat that I'm in, Sure, it's stressful at times, but we're all doing it for the future of the sport.
Well, Christine, thank you for that beautiful answer, and we'll see you out there this week, herding the cattle, I guess you could say. We'll see you out there.
Thank you.
And with that, we are wrapping up today. We will see you out there tomorrow for round 1. We'll see you folks later. Good night.